capitaine Ibrahim Traore, président du Faso. Monsieur Mourad, vice
What's up guys, welcome back to my channel Yano Show KE. This is a channel that brings you most of the contents that you like. So if you're new here, kindly click the subscription button, subscribe, like, comment and share. So this is a video of Ibrahim Traore in Gabon, where he interrupted the inauguration of Gabon's president. So when Ibrahim Traore arrived in Gabon, this is what happened. In a moment that will be etched in annals of African history, Captain Ibrahim Traore, the president of Burkina Faso, the revolutionaries, we call him revolutionary leader of Burkina Faso, once again asserted his unmatched influence across the continent. This is without even setting foot on Gabon. In recent inauguration of Gabon's new president, General Brice Nguema, who rose to power after ousting the long-ruling Bongo dynasty, was granted a fair attendance of constant of African heads of state. Yet it was the mere attention of Captain Traore's name that ignited the firestorm of cheers, leaving the attending leaders stunned, embraced and overshadowed by a man who wasn't even present. This electrifying episode, capped by Traore's commanding the presence of presidential. So here is the how when Traore arrived in Gabon during the inauguration ceremony of Traore's Gabon president. So we saw many people embracing, people cheering when the name of Ibrahim Traore was mentioned. So Traore standing ovation in Gabon, the president inauguration, where the crowds went crazy after mentioning his name, Ibrahim Traore.
Capitaine Ibrahim Traore, président du Faso.
In a moment that will be etched in the annals of African history, Captain Ibrahim Traore, the revolutionary leader of Burkina Faso, has once again asserted his unmatched influence across the continent, this time without even setting foot in Gabon. The recent inauguration of Gabon's new president, General Brice Oligui Nguema, who rose to power after ousting the long-ruling Bongo dynasty, was a grand affair attended by a constellation of African heads of state. Yet, it was the mere mention of Captain Traore's name that ignited a firestorm of cheers, leaving the attending leaders stunned, embarrassed, and overshadowed by a man who wasn't even present. This electrifying episode, coupled with Traore's commanding presence at Ghana's presidential inauguration earlier this year, and the continent-wide protests in his defense against imperialist slander, underscores one undeniable truth. Captain Ibrahim Traore is not just a leader, he is a movement, a symbol of African sovereignty, and a relentless challenge to the status quo. But then the announcer began, Captain Ibrahim Traore's representative. Before the sentence could even conclude, the stadium erupted. For over a minute, the crowd's roar was deafening. Chants of Traore, Traore reverberated through the arena, drowning out all else. The energy was electric. A spontaneous outpouring of admiration for a man who had chosen to send his prime minister up in his stead. The other leaders, accustomed to the spotlight, were left visibly uncomfortable, their polite smiles masking the sting of being upstaged. Sources close to the event reported that some presidents exchanged awkward glances, while others stared straight ahead, their silence betraying their unease. The people of Gabon had hoped to see Traore in person. Social media posts in the lead-up to the inauguration buzzed with excitement, with Gabonese youth expressing their desire to witness the young captain's charisma firsthand. "We wanted IB to come himself," said Marie-Claire Ayang, a 24-year-old student in Libreville. "He's the only leader who speaks for us, who fights for Africa's soul." Traore's decision to send a representative was strategic, some analysts suggest, signalling his focus on Burkina Faso's internal challenges while still commanding influence abroad. But the crowd's reaction made one thing clear: Traore's absence only amplified his presence. Imagine, for a moment, if Traore had attended. The scenes in Libreville could have rivaled a rock star's concert. The fact that his mere name sparked such fervour is a testament to his cult-like following across Africa. A following that leaves traditional leaders scrambling to understand the source of his magnetic appeal. This was no isolated incident. It was a repeat of a pattern that has humiliated Africa's political elite time and again, most notably in Ghana just weeks earlier. On January 7th, 2025, Captain Traore physically attended the inauguration of Ghana's newly elected president, John Mahama, in Accra. The event was a high-profile gathering with 17 African heads of state present, including heavyweights like South Africa's Cyril Ramaphosa and Ethiopia's Abiy Ahmed. The ceremony was meant to celebrate Ghana's democratic transition, but it was Traore who became the unintended centerpiece. As each leader was introduced, the crowd offered respectful applause until Traore's name was called. The response was seismic. Thousands of Ghanaians, young and old, erupted into cheers, waving Burkina Faso's flag alongside Ghana's. Videos circulating on X captured the moment. Traore, dressed in his signature military fatigues and beret, acknowledged the crowd with a raised fist, his stoic demeanour barely concealing a flicker of pride. The ovation lasted nearly 2 minutes, dwarfing the reception for every other leader, including the host, President Mahama. The contrast was stark. Leaders like Togo's Nassing Bey, whose family has ruled for over half a century, and Cameroon's Paul Biya, a perennial fixture in African politics, received tepid claps. Sources at the event noted that some presidents appeared visibly rattled. "You could see it in their faces," said Kofi Mensah, a Ghanaian journalist who attended. "They're used to being the ones adored, or at least respected. But Traore, he's on another level. It's like he's speaking directly to the people, bypassing the elite." Traore's appearance was not without controversy. His decision to wear a holstered pistol, a rare move for a head of state at such an event, sparked debate. Security analyst Vladimir Antwi Danso called it unusual, noting that host nations typically ensure the safety of visiting leaders. But for Traore's supporters, it was a bold statement of defiance, a reminder of his readiness to defend his revolution against any threat. "He's not here to play their games," tweeted Africa Rising, a popular Pan-Africanist account. "IB is a warrior, not a politician." The Ghana inauguration was a microcosm of Traore's broader impact. He doesn't just attend events, he transforms them into referendums on African leadership. His ability to command such adulation exposes the disconnect between many African leaders and their people, who view traditional politicians as out of touch or complicit in neo-colonial systems. For the leaders who sat in Accra, the message was clear: their grip on legitimacy is slipping, and Traore is the yardstick by which they are now measured. Why does Captain Ibrahim Traore, a 37-year-old military captain from a small, landlocked West African nation, inspire such devotion?